This is the Datsun 240Z, the Z that started it all. This car has set the standard for sports cars across many brands, but in particular has laid the foundation for the Z cars that we have today, including my very own Nissan 370Z NISMO.
Now in Japan, this car was branded the Nissan Fairlady Z, and in America, the Datsun 240Z. The father of the Z, Mr. K, was the man, the first Nissan USA president, the man that really adapted this car for the USA market and made it the icon that it is today.
The name Nissan was dropped in favour of Datsun because they were better known for their involvement in a certain skirmish that happened during the 30s and 40s.
The current fashion in automotive design is to take old designs and bring them into the modern age. Like the design from this, the 240Z, launched in 1969. People just loved the way cars looked from this era. I certainly do.
The headlight design, for example, influenced the DRLs on the new Nissan Z, called the 400Z by some people, although officially it's just called the Nissan Z.
There are some other things that that car also took from this, which very obviously is the color. The Z Proto, the launch edition of the car, had a color very similar, if not identical, to this.
Now, another feature that you might notice on this car that you might also see on other cars is this hump in the middle. Now, on the 350Z, which I had, that was not present until they brought out the HR, which had a slightly sharper angle on the V, making the engine just stick up a little bit more, so they needed some space in the bonnet. So they reintroduced this particular design cue into that car. But you will also see that on the current Z and in other editions over the years.
One of the areas that was taken as a styling cue onto the 370Z, which then carried over onto the new Z, is the shape of this rear three-quarter window, this angle and kink here. Another piece that was transferred over was the Z badging to the rear of the window. That was then brought to the new Z, which I really do love.
And speaking of the Z badge, this one is one of the later models, so therefore it has the vented badge. This allows for a little ventilation from the cabin. Now, originally on the older cars, there was a horizontal vented slots on the rear hatch, which unfortunately resulted in exhaust fumes circulating back into the cabin, especially when the car was traveling at low speeds or when stationary. But in 1971, those were removed and replaced with this vented Z badge. An iconic feature of the 240Z was this little tail flick. Now, this has to be there because a car of this shape is essentially going to be generating quite a lot of lifts, and that's there just to really stop the car from getting a little bit light on the rear wheels at higher speeds. Now, one of the things I also particularly like is that in the UK, cars older than a certain year can actually carry these black and silver number plates, and I think that looks especially good on the black painted section on the rear of the car. Now, this black surround is also featured in the new Nissan Z, presenting a callback to its origins in this particular car. From the side profile of the car, you can really see how the long nose and the sloping roof have really influenced the design of the modern Zs. And under that long bonnet is a 2.4 litre inline six. Now, this originally came with a 4-speed manual, but you could get a 5-speed manual for non-US versions. This one happens to come with the 5-speed gearbox.
On these cars, they have a choke lever and a revs lever to help starting the car on cold starts. And this revs lever, so essentially your throttle pedal, so that when you're trying to start it, you can just operate it via the levers. And some people refer to it as Darwin's cruise control, because in theory, it acts as your throttle pedal. So if you chuck it in 4th or 5th gear, you can pull that lever back and have it cruising. You don't need to do anything, but that's definitely not what it's designed for. These gauge pods have also been carried over to future Zs. Now, I can remember all the way back to my dad's 2005 350Z that had these similar gauge pods in there, and that also carried on to the 370 and the new Z.
Now, one of the things that Damani noticed is the positioning of the door handle, which is very, very low down. So when the door's closed, you kind of have to reach down between the seats in order to actually get to it. One mystery we've discovered is this. It just says on and on.
And there's no button there. I don't know if this is a different, oh.
Well, that's a mystery for us to hopefully get explained in the comments. What do you think?
I'm hoping someone in the comments knows. The comment section is the smartest place on the internet. Another interesting thing that you don't get in modern cars anymore, because people didn't care as much back then, and this is some of the boring, intricate stuff that I deal with, is little things like having an exposed silver screw there. Like, one, they couldn't even be bothered to make the screw black, and two, they couldn't figure out another way to not make the screw visible at all. Which back then, cars were so mechanical, and a lot of people who owned cars like this would actually work on them themselves. So people don't really care about seeing all that hardware, but it's just a completely different era, a completely different time.
Now, we could both pore over the details on this car for hours. However, today is actually going to be my first drive in this car because I've literally moved it only a few hundred meters to get to the spot that we're in right now. And this is going to be my first drive in a dream classic. But you know what, Damani? These are the keys, and you're on the wrong side of the car because you're not insured to drive it. Get lost. Come on.
Sounds of the street. Yeah, yo, vinyl dust on my fingers, smoke in the wire, whole block leaning on the bass for fire. Mic stand tape, but the spirit was clean. Every pop in the groove cut sharper than the screen. We spoke in rhythm, traded truth for truth. You could hear who was hungry by the crack in the booth. Now the volume's high, but the message thin. Too much shine, it's not enough swear. Found heaven in the rhythm and the sounds of the street.
One of the conversations we started to have off camera was the fact that you were actually quite excited to be in this car, even if it was just in the passenger seat.
We get the awesome opportunity to be in and around cool cars quite a lot. So when someone offers you a ride in their car, sometimes it's exciting, sometimes you're like, could take it or leave it. But I was so excited to get out in this car because it's just so different. Yeah, it's just something really, really special to be in. I think the last time I was in anything this old. Oh,
The Bristols.
The Bristols. Yeah, that just came back to memory. The Bristols, when we went and filmed those. And then before that, was when I was 15 doing some work experience at a classic American muscle car garage. Where they actually had a 240Z in at the time. I never got to go out in that, but I got to go out in an old AC Cobra and an old Plymouth Satellite and a Dodge Challenger from the 70s. So yeah, that's why I've been really excited to get out, even as a passenger in this car.
And I've been excited too, because ever since you were even a teenager, I certainly talked about loving these cars, and both of us ended up talking about the possibility of maybe getting one as a project car one day and actually restoring it and rebuilding it ourselves. Maybe one day that's something we could do because of YouTube, but I don't think we could do it on YouTube right now. We just don't have the time. But Damani, sitting in this car, what's your first impressions?
It's old. It's definitely old, and it's definitely showing its age.
Like me.
You're definitely old, but not so much showing your age.
Oh, thank you.
Very rare compliment I'll give you.
Yes, you can borrow that money you want to borrow.
Absolutely love it. It's old, it's wallowy, it's boaty, it's rickety, it's making a lot of noises, but it's got heaps of character.
Oh, yeah. But you know what? This is going to sound really strange. There is something extraordinarily familiar about this car. Maybe it's partly because of the dashboard design with the 3 pods there. Maybe it's the bonnet sitting out in front of me with the bulge in the middle. And you kind of see the haunches just on the outside, giving you an opportunity to know exactly where the front wheels are. But I feel like I've been here before, even though I'm pretty sure this is my first time in a 240Z.
One of the things that I've noticed straight away is the seats. They have no holding capabilities at all. Even just small, slow speed turns, and I feel like I'm going all the way out, because there just wasn't much need for proper aggressive bolsters like what we've got in cars today. Obviously, your 370Z NISMO has the Recaro CSs in them, which hold you quite well.
Simply because it doesn't have enough grip for you to really be thrown around in the car as much as you would in a modern car. But, you know, that's not what cars like this are about. Cars like this are about feeling like you're gone back to the past, which fits right now because this little village we're going through does seem very, very old school.
And speaking of that, do you know what I've noticed? The amount of looks this car's getting, but more so from an older generation. You know, when you drive a sports car or an enthusiast car, you will get quite a lot of looks, mainly from other car enthusiasts. And then when you drive something like your Lamborghini with its ridiculous orange everywhere, it stands out instantly on the road and you get a lot of looks just because it's a Lamborghini. But this has been getting so many looks from everyone, partially probably because of the vibrant color, it stands out. But what I noticed is a lot of the older generation are really looking at this car with a smile on their face because it is just something special and gorgeous, and obviously it reminds people of an era, I think.
Oh, 100%. Back in the 1970s, people will even look at this car and even think, oh, what is that? If they don't know much about cars, they might be thinking, is that an old Ferrari? Oh no, it's a Datsun. And that was the effect that the car had back in its day. It was such a beautifully designed, sporty looking car that was somewhat inspired by Italian styling that many people did call it the poor man's Ferrari. This was less than half the price of an equivalent Ferrari. But for half the price, you could get yourself into a car that looked almost as cool as a Ferrari to the untrained eye. Obviously, the badging doesn't have the same meaning, but the styling, I think it does.
That raw kick, that snap in the snare, had the crowd on the one, every soul right there. No screens, no streams, just sweat on wax. Bass so mean, they could break your back. We learn time and rhythm, truth and tone. Every rhyme we own, every bar for grown. Now they quantize, feel to the sound turns clinical. Chasing perfection, beats lost a miracle in the lyrical. Yeah, back in the groove, still in the truth.
The kind of technology that we have in modern cars is absolutely insane. I mean, there's no traction control in this thing. You have to look after everything yourself. It's up to you to drive this car. There is no electronics driving it for you.
And I think there's something to be said about the drivers from that era as well, because you had to have a certain level of skill or knowledge of driving about you to be able to drive something like this. Because, like you said, nothing to hold you back, to stop you from getting it wrong. It was just you, the car, and the road. And with that 6-cylinder engine putting out around 150 horsepower and the car weighing around a ton, that is a pretty quick car, especially for that era.
Practically a supercar, but not by today's standards, because as I'm going into this corner, I am feeling the car lean over on its suspension and I'm not even going that fast. Now in this particular model at the moment, the rev counter isn't working, so I actually don't know when I can change gear.
That sound!
It sounds great. Oh, look. It's slow, yes, by today's standards, but back in the day, this would have been an absolute monster. And even though it kind of wallows around a little bit, this is actually very sporty. I see you sliding around in your seat a little bit there. You've got nothing to hold on to like I do. Do you know what this reminds me of? Do you remember the day that we filmed with your RX-8?
Yeah.
We drove on that exact road. Compared to some of the cars we've driven up and down those roads, it is slow, but it's such a buzz.
I'm actually starting to get ache in my cheeks from smiling too much. Just from the passenger seat. I think that's just a testament to how fun this car is on the road, because I've just been ear to ear grinning the whole time. And I think that's what cars should be about. You know what? It exceeded my expectations and matched my hopes. I was hoping that this car was going to be everything that I wanted it to be. Fun, nimble, and just a bundle of joy to be in. But I expected it to just be a horrible experience that I wasn't going to enjoy and it was going to crush my hopes. But it didn't do that. and I don't think I've had much more fun being in the passenger seat of a car in a very, very long time.
Not even this morning. We went in the Lambo. Yeah, you're right. I have had more fun driving this.
I'm having fun now.
Yeah.
And we're just cruising.
Yeah.
And with a lot of other sports cars, especially more modern stuff, you need to be driving them a bit hard to actually get any enjoyment out of them. So just going for a nice cruise, enjoying the sun, taking in the sights. This would be the perfect car for that. And I just want to give a massive thank you again to Nissan UK for lending us this car, because this has been an awesome experience to be in this.
And a special thank you to James of JM on Cars also, because he's actually helped us film pieces of this video. Some of the shots in this you might see here, and some of them you might see over on JM and Friends. But for today, I think the one thing we need to do is ask you to let us know in the comments, what do you think of it? Or what's your dream classic car? Other than that, please hit like, hit subscribe, and head on over to the JM and Friends channel and do the same there. And hopefully we'll see you again, if not there, here on SNT.
Respect was real, truth was there. Every hand raised high, every heart in time. We were moving enough, and a groove ran deep. We found heaven in the rhythm and the sounds of the street.